We are going to be talking about mitosis. You have some sheets in front of you, but first we're going to discuss some things. The other day, last Friday, you all took notes on cell cycle and mitosis where you had to watch a video lesson. I want you to take out your notes that say cell cycle for eukaryotic cells. Have that in front of you because we're going to do a little bit of a review for information. I'm going to be requiring some information from you. All right, what we're going to be doing today is a mitosis simulation. I'm going to be explaining the activity to you in just a moment, but before we do that, in this activity, the objections that you're going to be able to achieve are you're going to simulate the mitosis process, which we've talked about with the cell cycle, and we talked about it in great detail now. You're also going to be able to study or tell me the difference between mitosis in a plant cell and in an animal cell and identify those differences. So, with your notes out, I'm going to give you some information in just a moment, and you are then going to be able to tell me what cycle, what part of the mitosis cycle or the cell cycle I'm talking about. We already know that mitosis is a nuclear division, and it can also be divided into several phases based upon the arrangements of chromosomes. Remember, the major thing in copying a cell or duplicating a cell, one of the major components after cyclin is regulated, that protein, what has to happen? Speak up. DNA has to be copied. What's in DNA? I mean, where is DNA located? In the nucleus. And it's also raveled around those things called chromosomes. Very good. So those chromosomes are going to be copied, and those are going to start to move throughout the nucleus of the cell so that they can get ready for the process of splitting up. Like, for instance, if I said, pick a site that you want to go on and for a team, the first thing that you're going to do is probably start talking to your friends. Okay, what side you going on? All right, what are you going to do? And then you're going to start to split based on that. So that's basically what the chromosomes do. They kind of start to line up, they kind of do the things that they need to do, and then they kind of split. Well, not kind of, they do split from there. So with that being said, looking at this picture that's here, that is a small picture, but it's there and it looks really plain, but we'll deal with it. The picture here and picture here, they both represent the same process of of mitosis. However, one represents one type of cell and the other represents another type of cell. What cell is which? Speak up, Messiah, to give me shapes. Square one is a plant cell and the circular one is an animal cell. And we've talked about cells before and we realized that the shaping is a little bit different. Now, in this particular picture that we're looking at, during this portion of mitosis or during this portion of the cell cycle, here are the chromosomes that are in the middle. They're not quite lining up. They're kind of just gathered in the middle, and you see the chromosomes, but here is where the nuclear membrane, that's the outer portion of the nucleus, is breaking down. And the reason it is breaking down is because it is going to get ready to start to disperse itself so that it can get ready to make two new cells. So the chromosomes start to condense. What does condense mean? Come together. They start to come together. This is this portion, like, okay, you guys got to get ready to split up. Wait, let me see my friends. Oh my God, best friend, I miss you. All right, best friend, see you later. So what portion of the mitosis where the chromosomes actually condense and they gather in the middle? There's no mitophase. Anaphase? Prophase. This is the beginning of the mitosis. It's the very beginning portion of the cell cycle after your DNA has been copied and all of that stuff. This is the beginning portion where they're now all in the middle and they're bunching up. So here you have there. Moving on throughout the cycle. Here is where the chromosomes actually line up in the middle, because now they're like, all right, best friend, we about to go, hold my hand. Oh, don't leave me, best friend. Oh, we got to get ready to split up. And you're kind of in the middle, you're kind of choosing sides, and they're in the middle. What is that? They line in the middle. In the middle phase. Middle means middle. They met in the middle. So they're lined up in the middle and they're getting ready to split apart. Then from there, they actually split. And they start moving to opposite sides of the nucleus so they can get ready to do their own thing. The splitting is what? Anaphase. And in the video that you watched, you should have heard my analogy or my way to help you remember. The A's in anaphase are split between the ends. So they're going to each side. From there, they're getting ready to go ahead and do it is what they need to do. And now they're going to go ahead and make 2 new nuclei. Mitosis is not complete, or the process is not complete. The cell cycle is not complete, but this is the completion of mitosis because mitosis is the process of making 2 new nuclei. Here you have 2 new nuclei. What phase is this? Telophase. It's now having 2 new nuclei. Nuclei tell the cell what they're going to be, so this is now the telophase. Now, if you notice the biggest difference here, you still have 2 circular portions of a cell, and you still have 2 rectangular cells. What is the difference between the two? Well, first of all, what's the next step? This is telophase. Cytokinesis, which means what? The splitting of the cell. Now you're going to have 2 new separate cells. What's the difference between the animal cell and the plant cell in the way that they split? Isaiah. Okay. Animal cells actually split apart. And plant cells actually develop another cell wall that they don't split apart. They're connected together because of that cell wall that's there. Are there any questions about this? Okay. And there is something else that I wanted to go through. In case you do not remember the process of the cell cycle, there was this handy dandy song that I did have on the video, if you watched the video, because you should have, to get your notes and not copy the notes. But I'll play it now. You gotta bop with it. For mitosis. I know y'all know this song. Mr. Perfect got another. That's the plant cell. Remember, mitosis is an asexual reproduction because it doesn't involve a sperm and an egg. And we're going to go right into that in just a moment. Who you put on for? Don't say anything else. Telophase. Notice it's starting with prophase and not interphase because the beginning of mitosis is prophase. The beginning of the cell cycle is interphase. All right? I see that place up on that y'all jam. Then y'all be there. What else y'all do that y'all do? You gotta make that face. Feeling it. Remember metaphase, they line up in the middle. Says the 4 phases of mitosis have come to a finish. There's only 4 phases of mitosis. But there are how many phases of the cell cycle? 6. Telophase. I'm sorry, what? Should be saying the mitosis phases. And then it tells us the final cycle, stage of the cell cycle is cytokinesis. This is when you get your two new identical daughter cells. Again, why do we name them daughter and not sons? Because girls are better than boys. Thank you very much. You have learned some. Yes. All right. Scientists are smart. They know everything. All right. So now that we have this information and we understand the phases of mitosis and the entire cycle of the cell cycle going from interphase all the way through to cytokinesis, you're going to go ahead and do a simulated project or simulated assignment for mitosis. So what you have in front of you is a paper that looks like this, not like this. It looks like this. Make this a little bigger. Maybe I can't. Nope. All right, background information. The life cycle of an individual cell includes several phases, and it's called the cell cycle. That's from the interphase to cytokinesis. The cell cycle includes time of growth. What is the time of growth called? The cell cycle includes growth time. What portion of the cell cycle is that? Oh, you better get out your notes. G1, thank you. Yeah. All right, production of proteins and other cell productions in the duplication of DNA. The production of proteins and the duplication of DNA would be synthesis. And then you have that portion in there also is called the what phase? G2, synthesis is S. From there, all of that is called the interphase. Then from there, you have your portion, that's the mitosis portion, which is what, again, you're going to be simulating today. Looking at this picture, it does show you the picture of the plant cell and the animal cell. The reason why I put the holes on the other side of your paper is so that you could put it in your binder like this, but notice when I put the hole there, it cut off this word, so that's why I did that. All right, this information here you're going to read with your partners, but I'm not going to go over it, but it just basically talks about everything that we've just talked about. What I do want to dwell on really quickly before you get into the assignment yourself is if you look at this here, notice it goes from G1 and it goes in a cycle and then it splits off and does some things here. I want to kind of explain this. Remember the interphase portion, which is the growth and the production of the DNA, is within G1 through S phase through G2. That's the interphase. Got it? Then you have mitosis, where the chromosomes actually start to line up in the middle and they get ready to split and they make the two nuclei and they split off and they make two new cells. These cells go through the same process, but before they do that, they go through this thing called specialization. Remember, we learned about specialized cells. What were some of them? Nerve cells, sperm cells, skin cell, blood, liver, pancreatic cells. Well, cancer cells, that's different. We don't have them, and pray to God that we never have them. But they specialize, meaning they're assigned a new task. So when you're born, that's your process of being born. That's meiosis. That's a sperm and an egg cell coming together to form you. As you grow, your cells duplicate on their own. That's asexual reproduction. They don't need a sperm and an egg to do that. We'll talk about meiosis later. They go through the process of mitosis. Now, you started off as one individual cell combined from two, a sperm and a egg cell. You started off as that. And as you grew and developed, you started to grow skin cells and liver cells and nerve cells. And this is how it happened through this process of specialization. Now, we know that these cells actually go through the cell cycle. What is the one specialized cell that never or very rarely goes through the cell cycle? The nerve cells. Once you damage a nerve cell, it's basically done. So this is what this picture is showing you, and it shows you the processes of mitosis along with cytokinesis. Yes? We'll talk about that in a moment. Let me get through this. All right. So when you flip your papers over, this is your analysis questions, but in this portion here, as you're doing the simulation with your group, you're going to be putting some things together. At your table, you actually have a paper that looks like this. I want you to go ahead and put that in front of you. It's going to be one per partner. So you two will be a partner, and Joy, you three. Messiah join Nakai, Messiah join with Joy, and Naya join with Isaiah. All right. So for your materials, 13, you have a baggie that looks like this. In this baggie, there are some little colorful round circles, and then there's some white tubular things. It's going to tell you, and you also have some small white tubular things. It tells you how many of each things you have. You have some 4 centrioles, 8 centromeres. What's a centromere? What's a centromere? What's a centromere? Center of what? No, mere means middle. Center of what? What are we talking about that happens in the middle of the nucleus? What splits? But what is DNA raveled around? Chromosome. So what is the centromere? The center of the chromosomes. And this is in your notes. It's actually in your cell cycle notes. You labeled it. You need to know that. Then you have some beads, blue beads, green beads, red beads, and yellow beads. These steps are going to tell you, I'm not going to go through these steps, but they tell you what to do each step on how to put things together. As you go through the steps, you're going to be using this sheet, or these sheets, throughout each phase. And as you're going through, you're going to be taking these beads and simulating what's happening based on these steps. Does that make sense? So when you read the steps, it'll tell you what to do. When this comes into play, you'll bring this into play. Then some of the steps will then say, draw the diagram based on what you put together. This is where you're going to be drawing your diagram. So once you simulate interphase with the paper and your beads, you'll draw it. Moving on to prophase, metaphase, anaphase, down to telophase through cytokinesis. And notice cytokinesis goes back to the interphase. From there, when you are finished, you'll answer the analysis questions. And if you do not get them answered in class on today, then the analysis questions are homework and they are due when you enter into class tomorrow. Any questions? Okay, then go ahead and get started. It's supposed to be.